So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to simplify yet another trig expression without the use of a calculator. As you guys can see, this question was taken from a previous question paper and it was worth 6 marks. Right, so if you're watching videos from me for the first time, please care to subscribe and be part of the Nosana community. All right, so in this video, we were given cos 225 degrees times sine minus 135 degrees minus sine 330 degrees all over tan 225 degrees. Right, so before I show you guys how this one was done or how this one is done, I'm just going to highlight what is important or what it is that you need to know when you're answering these questions. Right, so the first thing that you need to know is when you are given a negative angle in your bracket, right, the first thing that you gotta do is you need to add 360. Right, so when you have a negative angle, for example, where we have sine minus 135, where we have sine minus 135, you just need to add 360, so it will be sine 360 minus 135. All right, and then the second thing that you need to know is your cast diagram. And guys, you need to know this by head, because when you are doing this, you just when you're simplifying or whenever you are doing trig, you need to have the cast diagram, right? So you need to sketch it on the corner and then put the angles that are related to each quadrant. And the third thing that you need to know is that you need to understand reduction. Basically, you need to know what is happening in each quadrant, right? Like you need to know the rules, like, right? And then the fourth point that is important that you need to know is that you need to master or you need to know your special angles by head. Right, so let me just go back to reduction. So on that, guys, you just need to know what is happening in each quadrant. Like you're adding 90, you're adding 120, okay, I'm gonna say more about that shortly. Right, so about the special angles, you need to know them, and here's a quick method on how you can like memorize it using these two triangles. I've already done a video when I was explaining how you can know these triangles off by head. Like you don't need a table or anything. So in the first triangle, we're gonna have 45 degrees, right? Two angles of 45 degrees, and then two sides must be equal to 1, and then the hypotenuse has to be √2. And then in the second triangle, you need to have a 60-degree angle and a 30-degree angle. Your hypotenuse has to be 2. Your adjacent side, the angle adjacent to the 60, the side adjacent to the 60 has to be 1, and the opposite has to be √3. Just like that. It is simple as pie. Okay, so let me just go back on understanding reduction. Okay, so when it comes to understanding reduction, grade 12s, you need to know that in the first quadrant, you are saying 90 minus theta, or you're saying 360 plus theta, therefore everything is positive. In the second quadrant, you also need to know that you're saying 90 plus theta, 180 minus theta. In the third quadrant, you need to know that you are only saying what? You are only saying 180 plus theta. And in the fourth quadrant, you need to know that you are saying 360 minus theta. Right, so let me just sketch the cast diagram real quick. Okay, so you need to use a line. Okay, so cool, that's better. Okay, let me just take this out. Okay, perfect. Okay, so in the first quadrant, we know that we have A, second we have S, third we have T, and the fourth quadrant we have C. All students take coffee. In the first quadrant, like I already said, we have 90 minus theta. Second quadrant, we have 90 plus theta, 180 minus theta. Third, we have 180 plus theta. And then the fourth, we have 360 minus theta. Okay, and then, so for this question here, I'm just going to show you guys how we do it. And then now you need to draw the cast diagram as mentioned before, and then you just need to construct your two triangles and label them, put in the angles, okay, so that you are sorted. Okay, so here I'm just gonna put the 2 there. Okay, and then this is the 45-degree triangle, so I'm gonna have 45, sorry, oh, okay, 1 and 1, 45 and 45, and then I'm gonna have √2. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's attack this one, grade 12. 6 marks is a lot. Okay, so what we gotta do first is we need to know for 225, to get 225, we need to know what was added to an angle that is in either one of the 4 quadrants. So 180 is one of the 4 quadrants, right? Or 2. So we need to know what was added to obtain 225. Mind you, you need to have a special angle, or find out, or try to, find a combination that has a special angle and either has 180 or 360. Okay, and then now we're going to have sine 360 minus 145 minus sine 360 minus 30, because that is how we obtained 330. We said 360 minus 30, we got 3, we get 330. And then on the denominator, we have 10, open bracket, 180 plus 45, because that is how we obtained 225, right? So from this, what we can do is we need to understand reduction now. So this is where reduction comes in handy. Okay, so let me just write the reduction. Okay, cool, reduction. So you need to know what is happening. Okay, so basically this is where reduction comes in. You need to know what is happening in each quadrant. So when we were given cos 180 plus 45, you look where you have 180 plus 45 and what letter is in there. If there is t, that means only t is positive in that quadrant. So whatever you have before your angles, right, it means that it is going to be negative. So in this case, we have negative 45. And then for sine, we're also going to have negative sine 45. Right, I'm going to have negative sine 45. Why? Because sine 360 minus 45 is negative in the 4th quadrant. Right, so you need to put a bracket now for the following one, because you are subtracting, but then also when you reduce 360 minus 30, it becomes minus sine 30. So you need to put a bracket there. Okay, because the sign is going to change when you multiply the negative sign into the positive, into the bracket. Right, so negative times a negative will be positive. Now the denominator, we're going to have 10 45. Why? Because 10 is positive where we are saying 10 when we are saying 180 plus theta. Right, 180 plus theta is in the 3rd quadrant where 10 is positive. All right, cool. Now we're going to simplify the numerator. We notice that we are already multiplying 2 negative signs. So a negative times a negative becomes a positive. All right. So what we're just going to have now is cos 45 times sine 45 times plus sine 30 divided by 10 45. But now you just need to know your SOHCAHTOA, right? So I'm just going to simplify the special angles now and take them out. Okay, so cos 45 is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse. All right, cos. So it's going to be the adjacent of the 45 degrees, which is 1, and the hypotenuse, which is root 2, like that. And then the sine will be the opposite of the 45 degrees and the hypotenuse of that 45 degrees, which would be root 2, right? And then we're going to say plus, right, because we have a negative multiplying by a negative sine 30 there, right? So you're just going to put in the negative sign in there, and then it becomes positive. Okay, so I'm just going to change that and make it positive. Now sine 30, we need to know how to get sine 30. That is easy. You look at your 30-degree angle, which is in that triangle with 60 degrees. Sine 30 will be opposite over hypotenuse, which is 1 over 2, right? And we are dividing this by tan 45. This one is easy. Tan 45 is opposite over adjacent, which is only going to be 1 over 1, which is 1. So I'm not going to write that. I'm just going to go straight to it and simplify this. Right, so what we're going to have, ladies and gentlemen, is 1 over 2 plus 1 over 2, which gives us 1. Just like that. So 6 marks to get 1 is your answer. I mean, that's fair. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content.